Hi everyone, welcome to today's class. Today we are going to discuss about networking concepts. Now we move on to the topics, evaluation of networking, ARPANET, Internet, interspace, different ways of sending data across the network with reference to switching techniques like circuit switching and packet switching, and data communication terminologies like concept of channel, bandwidth, data transfer rate. So these are the topics we will discuss today. And in that first one, what is communication and why is it needed? So communication means to convey some information, either in the form of oral or written or visual way. In today's fast changing world, data needs to be transmitted efficiently, frequently and speedily to other persons. To move data at a fast speed and that too with the minimum data loss, networks plays an important role. So with the minimum data loss, we need to transfer the data at a fast speed. That is our aim. So for that, we can go for this networking concepts. So network is any collection of independent computers that communicate with one another over a shared communication medium or network medium. So in simple terms, a network is a collection of two or more computers linked together for the purpose of sharing information and the resources. So what kind of resources we can share? We can share files, we can share peripherals, so that is softwares, hardwares, all the informations we can share it among different computers. People can share files and peripherals such as modems, printers, backup drives and CD-ROM drives. Each computer on the network is called a node, and this collection of nodes or series of points interconnected by communication path or transmission media is known as computer network. So we can define computer networks in different forms. So what is the need for networking? Resource sharing, files and peripherals is the first need. So network enables the user to share data files with each other. Latest data can be made available at all the times to all the users, and files and folders we can take a backup and it can be shared to local machines or remote machines. Software can be installed centrally rather than on each machines. Instead of keeping the software in different machines, we can keep the software in a central locations. By that we can reduce the operational cost. Sharing peripherals, laser printers and large storage media are quite expensive. So networks enables us to share such resources and hence reduce the operational cost of any organizations. So instead of buying different laser printers for different machines, we can keep one laser printer that can be shared among the different computers which are connected in the network. Through that way, the operational cost of any organizations can be reduced. Next, sharing storage. On a network, one can access data from any machine, so hence storage can be distributed. A file can have a copies on two or more machines. Next need for networking is communication is improved. That is improving communication. A computer network can provide a powerful, fast and reliable communication medium among the users of various computers on the network. With the help of internet, we can communicate efficiently and easily via email, instant messaging, chat rooms, telephone, video telephone calls and video conferencing also we can use for communicating efficiently and easily. And access to remote database, this is another need for networking. So we can access any remote database from our place. So it is easy for an average person to access any remote database like airline reservation database. We can use it for booking the tickets. Remote control or access programs can be used to troubleshoot the problems or show new users how to perform a task. So these are the three advantages of networking. Next we'll move on to disadvantages of networking. First disadvantage is threat to data. The computer network may be used by unauthorized users also. So we cannot expect that always authorized users will be using the computer network. So there will be unauthorized users also in order to steal or corrupt the data and even to spread the computer viruses or computer worms on the network. So file security has to be taken care of, especially if it is connected to the WAN, wide area network. So second disadvantage of networking is it is very difficult to set up a larger networks. So setting up a network, especially larger networks, may turn out to be a difficult task. If systems are badly managed, services can become unusable. Larger networks may also be very costly to set up and maintain. Often a specialist may be needed to run and maintain the network. So specialist we need to have one special network administrator, like any person we need to have in order to run and maintain the network. Otherwise we cannot get the services in a continuous way. So that is another drawback of this networking concepts. Next, evolution of networking. So when networking started and who developed this networking concepts? Networking started in 1969 with the development of the first network called ARPANET. The full form of ARPANET is Advanced Research Project Agency Network. So this is the project which is developed by US Department of Defense. This US Department of Defense only sponsored this project, and the main goal of this ARPANET was to connect computers at different universities and US defense. Then later on, engineers, scientists and students, researchers who were part of the system began exchanging the data and the messages on this ARPANET. In the mid-1980s, the National Science Foundation created a new high-capacity network called NSFNet. So National Science Foundation, that is only shortly known as NSF. NSFNet was allowing only the academic researchers on its network. So many private companies later on they built their own networks, which were later interconnected along with this ARPANET and the NSFNet to form the internet. So internet, what is meant by internet? Internet is a system of linked networks or network of networks that are worldwide in scope. It provides data communication services like remote login, file transfer, email, the World Wide Web and news groups. These are the services are offered by the internet. It is really a network of networks spread across the globe, all of which are connected to each other. It connects many smaller networks together and allows all the computers to exchange information with each other through a common set of rules for communications. So the internet will follow a set of protocols or common set of rules in order to transfer the data from one place to another place. Internet uses a protocol called Transmission Control Protocol or Internet Protocol. So programs such as web server, web browsers, file transfer protocol clients and email clients are common ways through which users work on the internet. Users, they can use these programs in order to work with the internet. Either they can use web browser or FTP client or email clients they can use in order to work in the internet. The internet was initially restricted to military and academic institutions only, but now internet websites provide personal details, educational details, political details and economic resources to every corner of the planet. So this is the advantage of this internet. And what is meant by interspace? It is a client and server software program that allows multiple users, many users in a group where they can communicate online with the real-time audio and video and text chat in the dynamic 3D environment. So we can give example like a video conferencing. We can give an example for this interspacing technique. It provides the most advanced form of communication technology available today. The users will be able to communicate in multiple ways and from multiple sources instantly. So quickly they can communicate with each other in a different ways and with from different sources. So what are the requirements of network? So every network will include at least two computers, that means either server or client workstation, network interface card, a connection medium, usually a wire or cable, although wireless communication between networked computers and peripherals is also possible. Network operating system software such as Microsoft Windows NT, 2000, Novel Network, Unix, Linux, like that. Network operating systems we need to use in order to build a network. So minimum two computers we need to have. Network interface card need to be attached in the client system and server system also. A connection medium, usually a wire or cable, or wireless router also we can use. A network operating systems need to be installed in the server computer. So like that we need to have some of the basic requirements in order to establish a network. So what is meant by node? Node or workstation. A computer becomes a node, also called a workstation, as soon as it is attached to the network. Whenever any computer or node is going to be attached to the network, it is called workstation. Each user on the network works on a workstation. If there are no nodes, there would be no network at all. Next is server. So server, a computer that facilitates sharing of data. That means it provides a facility of sharing data and software, hardware resources on the network is known as server. Server always it will do serving work. So network can have more than one server also. Each server has a unique name by which it is identified by all the nodes on the network. So we will be having different servers for different purposes, file server, print server. So like that we will have different types of servers in order to serve its work. Servers can be of two types. first one is dedicated server and second one is non-dedicated server. So dedicated servers, these are the servers. Generally it is used on the bigger network like a wide area network installations, when one computer is reserved for server's job. So only one computer is always reserved for doing the server job. It helps all the nodes to access the data, software and hardware resources. Since it does not develop as a workstation, but only it manages the network, so it is known as dedicated server. So it will not do a dual role like workstation. Like client work also need to do and server work also it need to do in case of the non-dedicated server. But here one machine is allotted for doing server job alone. It will manages the entire network, so it is known as a dedicated server, and such type of networks are called master slave networks. Next we'll move on to non-dedicated servers. So non-dedicated servers, mainly it is used in smaller networks. Here a workstation can develop as a server. It will work like a server and also it will work like a client also. So it need to do dual role, and these servers are known as non-dedicated servers. The small networks using such server are known as peer-to-peer networks. So what is the name of this network called? Whenever a network is having non-dedicated server, these types of networks are called as peer-to-peer networks. Peer-to-peer networks means every node in this networking will be having equal standing. That means equal capacity only is there for all the nodes. There may be several servers that allow workstations to share specific resources. For example, file server, which take care of files related requests, and printer server taking care of printing requirements, and a modem server that helps group of users to use a modem. So like that we'll have a different servers in order to do different tasks. So next, what is network interface unit? This is also one of the major component of the networking. So network interface unit, otherwise is called as network interface card or terminal access point. It is a device that is attached to each of the workstations and the server. So whichever nodes are connected in the network, all the nodes must be having this NIC or NIU unit. Helps to establish communication between the server and the workstations. As soon as a standalone computer becomes a workstation, it needs an interface to help establish connection with the networks. So there should be one bridge in order to make a connection between the server and the client. So for that we need to have an NIC card in each machine which is attached to the network. Because without this, workstation will not be able to share the network resources or communicate with each other. So network interface card basically acts like an interpreter, and it is otherwise known as terminal access point. Here NIC manufacturer will assign the unique physical address to each NIC card. So NIC card is allotted with the different physical address which is assigned by the manufacturer, NIC manufacturer, and this address is otherwise called as MAC address. It is used to identify each machine in a different way in a network. Next topic we are going to see here is switching techniques. So switching techniques are used to efficiently transmit the data across the network. Two types of switching techniques we can use here. First one is circuit switching and second one is packet switching. So what is meant by circuit switching? It is a technique in which a dedicated and complete physical connection is established between the two nodes. So between two nodes, dedicated path is going to be established first, and through this dedicated communication channel only the nodes will communicate. And the circuit guarantees the full bandwidth of the channel. That is how much frequency is used for transmitting the data. So the full bandwidth of the channel is going to be checked first and remains connected for the duration of the communication session. So for the entire communication session, the connection is going to be established in a continuous way. Even if no communication is taking place in a dedicated circuit, the channel will be still empty only or idle only. So these channels are called idle channels when there is no communication taken place in the communication channel. Example for circuit switching is analog telephone network. When a call is made from one telephone to another telephone, switches within the telephone exchange, it will create a continuous wire circuit between the two telephones for as long as the call is last. So whenever the two persons are talking, that time the entire link is going to be, communication channel is going to be used by the two persons. In that time the other persons cannot able to use the channel. So that is the drawback of this circuit switching. Next, packet switching. Switching techniques in which packets like discrete blocks of data of fixed size. So fixed size of data is going to be transmitted, like 200 bytes normally will be allotted for each packets of any content or type or structure is going to be routed or forwarded between the nodes over the data links shared with other traffics. So other data also can be transmitted through that path at the same time. The term packets refer to the fact that the stream of data from your computer is broken up into packets of about 200 bytes on average, which are then sent out onto the network. Each packet contains a header with information necessary for routing the packet from source to destination, like header information like source address, destination address, and how much data is going to be transmitted in that packet. Everything will be assigned in that header. Then advantages of this packet switching. The packets from many different sources can share a line, allowing for very efficient use of the communication medium. Here the communication channel is going to be used by multiple datas. That is only the advantage of this packet switching. In circuit switching, the path is only assigned for the two communicating nodes. It will not be assigned for the other nodes. With the current technology, packets are generally accepted onto the network on a first come and first served basis. So whichever data is want to transmit the data in that route, so it will be assigned in a first come and first served basis. If the network becomes overloaded, packets are delayed or discarded or dropped also. So when the networks is becoming traffic or overloaded, the packets are going to be delayed or finally it will be discarded also. So what is the difference between the circuit switching and the packet switching? So in circuit switching, physical path between the source and destination is established. Here there is no physical path in packet switching. In circuit switching, all packets uses the same path only. Here packet travels independently in any route also and reserves the entire bandwidth in advance. In advance it will reserve the entire frequency. It does not reserve any frequency at all. In circuit switching, bandwidth will be wasted. Here no bandwidth will be wasted here, and no store and forward transmission occurred in the circuit switching. Here it will support store and forward transmission. Packet will be stored in one particular place and then it will be forwarded whenever it finds the route in case of packet switching. So here you can see one diagram in order to understand the circuit switched network. So here two persons are communicating with each other, receiver and caller. So caller and receiver both are communicating. Here entire path is fixed here for when both receiver and caller is talking among each other or communicating among each other. So entire communication line is shown as a one thin line. Okay. But here in packet switched network, there is a connection between the receiver and caller, but there is no dedicated path is assigned. They can choose any path, whichever path is freely available at that moment. They will use that path in order to transmit their data. So this is the advantage of packet switched network. So here communication channel is going to be used by multiple sources, multiple senders and receivers. Circuit switched networks, it will use the entire message. Here entire message is going to be passed and there is a dedicated communication link in the circuit switched network. In packet switched network, the message is going to be broken down into smaller pieces called the packets. Every packet follows a different route. So with this, today's class is going to end. Thank you for everyone.